So finally we've got Sean Baby, who I'm super excited to have here tonight. He writes for Crack.com and EGM now. He's the creator of Kick to the Groin comics. He was a staff writer at MTV's Chico and Guapo and co-hosted Attack of the Show. And has appeared on G4, MTV, MTV2, VH1, and once on MSNBC. Sean Baby, actually, he started out, he was born in this small village in Oklahoma where they had a long tradition, hundreds of years. They had been making, the entire village had been making sex toys, and once a year they would travel down from the mountains like in a covered wagon and sell them in the plains and like travel all around and trade the sex toys for like homemade whiskey and pornographic commemorative plates and like cattle and stuff. And this was how the village supported itself. And the old ladies of the village would kind of toil over these dildos year round. It was pretty much the old ladies knew the secret of making dildos. And in fact they had made a plaster cast of the penis of Ulysses S. Grant, the Civil War hero and US president, in 1869, and had been selling Ulysses S. Grant dildos for 150 years. You could strap on a Civil War hero for like, a very modest fee. And, this went on, it was a thriving industry well into, Sean Baby's life until, disaster struck, basically, because it rained for 200 days or something, and all of the dildo molds broke. And all of their old vibrator making equipment was like damaged, and they realized, the secrets of making all these dildos and things had been passed down by the old ladies of the town, and the latest old lady who knew all the secrets had kind of gone a little bit loopy while nobody was looking, and she didn't quite know all of the ins and outs of dildos anymore. And it was kind of a problem. Sorry, that was really bad. So they had to send someone out into the world to rediscover the secrets of making dildos, or the village would be ruined. And so this was considered a huge honor. Somebody was going to save the town. And so they had like 30 days of like trials to figure out who could be the hero that would save the town. And this mostly involved a lot of lube wrestling, which was a tradition in the town that went back centuries, and all the elders of the village gathered to watch the young people lube wrestling, and this ended with most of them either pregnant or having like horrible compound fractures. And so Sean Baby was chosen to go down and he traveled for 1,000 days, like until his mule died, and he had to eat his mule, and like he ran out of jerky, and he had to eat all his passenger pigeons and like or his carrier pigeons or whatever, and he was basically out in the wilderness looking for dildo wisdom, and finally he came upon like an adult superstore like on the highway, and he was like, it's an entire building full of dildos, and he went in and he was just looking at them like, wow, how did these all get here? Where are the old ladies that made these? How can I ask them? And like, he was looking at them and he was like noticing a lot of them were made in a place called Indonesia, and he was like, I have to go to Indonesia and find the wise people there and ask them about dildos, and they'll tell me their secrets. But he didn't know how to get to Indonesia. He was like kind of trying to figure out how to build like a flying machine out of like the last pieces of his like mule wagon, or possibly hitch a ride on like a tanker or something. And but he was stuck. He was in like Oklahoma someplace. Colorado. He traveled from Oklahoma, and so he was wound up in a bar, like telling strangers about like his whole horrible situation. And he realized people were buying him drinks. People were like hanging on his every word because he was telling them about like the deep ancient wisdom of like dildo making, and they started sort of thinking that he was this great sex guru because of the ancient wisdom and the knowledge that we handed down in his secluded mountain village, and he could totally make bank on this shit. So he finally was like, he just started working it, and pretty soon he had like his own cult compound, and he became the sex guru for like Colorado, Utah, and parts of Wyoming, and like it was like he had like 100 nubile young people like bringing him shit and like acolytes and like he had his whole compound. It was like 100 different shades of Angora, and like he would just hang out there and dispense wisdom. And then he figured out the thing to do was go on the internet with this and start dispensing wisdom there. And that's really how he went. He went big time with it, sharing the sex wisdom and the guru-ness and everything on the internet. And now there are like literally thousands and thousands of Sean Babians all around the world who basically like follow him. And meanwhile that village in the mountains, they're okay, I guess. He sends them a check every now and then, maybe, I don't know, whatever. He's good. So please welcome the amazing Sean Baby.